start talking.
I can't.
Let me just get you ready. It's like dun 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 dun.
Leave me in. Welcome to the first episode of the hellhades.com podcast, brought to you by Fiction and Saphira.
Yo.
Okay, guys, so this is basically the first episode in our official podcast brought to you by hellhades.com. The idea of this podcast is it's basically a weekly catch-up where we're going to be chatting about things going on within Raid, with the website, but also the gaming community in general, things that we're interested in. We thought it'd be fun to put this together as a weekly podcast that we can put out to you guys, and hopefully you enjoy it and get to know us as a team rather than just the names behind the hellhades.com website. So I guess we jump in, and today's episode we're just going to give you a brief background as to who we are, how we got involved in the site, how we started working with Hellhades, and we'll just see where it goes.
How are you doing today, Dan?
I'm good, dude. I am good. Very nervous about recording my own voice, but here we go.
Excellent, yeah. So, great. It's good to be here, great to be involved and catch up on the world of gaming as it is.
So, I mean, let's start off. Most people who listen to the podcast and know us in general will know us from Raid Shadow Legends and through Hell Hades. So, to give a bit of background about yourself, when did you start playing Raid?
So, I think like a lot of people, I started playing just as the lockdown, good old COVID in the world started, and I used to play way back in the day when mobile gaming first started. I don't know if anyone's ever played it. Wii Farm. Have you remember that game? It's like Facebook used to have like Zoom.
Didn't.
It was
No.
like, I can't remember the company now, but it was like Wii Farm, and it was basically a city builder for mobile games. And
Awesome.
I got hooked on this thing.
Sweet.
I had spreadsheets coming out of my eyeballs. It was a great fun, and I think I played it religiously for about a year, and then it got to the point, like with every mobile game, where you sit back and you go, wow, my life is this job. Like, how did this happen? Like, I'm just sitting here min-maxing to no life into the world.
And I guess nothing's changed because you're just playing Raid now. So.
Well, it was kind of like that appeal that I think that's where mobile games work really well. That appeal of it's a distraction from the world, but also like you can like min-max. Like I've got a back. My mind is a full min-maxer. I love min-maxing. It's what I get into games for. It's what I think a lot of people do especially when you think of like Diablo 3 and Path of Exile. That quest to become like the highest potential or the greatest in the community or the best build, pulling off insane things. I think that's a really like a positive, but also a negative, like a double-edged sword. So right when the lockdown started, I was like, do you know what? I really miss that feeling of having something that is like a daily task that you can min-max your way through. And I'd seen Raid Shadow Legends I think I watched Harfu stream. I don't know if you've seen Harfu, the streamer. Yeah. So at the time I was really into TFT. She did a sponsored stream and was one of the usual Raid Shadow Legends that gives content creators lots of money.
Who hasn't done a sponsored stream?
Who hasn't, exactly. And I started playing it, and I really sort of like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, played it a bit, and it was right around the time of Battle Pass Season 1.
Yep.
Right? It was March 2020.
Yeah.
And it was quite funny because Harfu was like, this game is great. The only thing is like my fiance told me to stop playing it because it was like taking over her life.
Awesome.
I was like, this is great. I don't have a fiance. I can take over my life.
There's some good marketing.
Exactly. And so I got involved and didn't spend anything until Battle Pass was nearly over because I'd started like 2 weeks into it. I was like, right, I'm going to buy the Battle Pass, great value for money, get my stag night, run the world.
Yep.
And so roll on 18 months, or was it now 16 months? I'm now full on Kraken level. Probably.
It's now your job.
It's now my job, yeah. What a crazy world.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
So I mean,
that's how I got into it.
Yeah, I picked up Raid almost in the exact same way. So my company that I worked for, I was working for a digital marketing agency. Obviously, one of the first things that companies in the UK cut when they effectively went into lockdown was their marketing spend, because there was no customers. So who are they going to market to?
Can't sell to people who don't want to buy.
Exactly. I basically got, I say put on furlough. I wasn't strictly speaking as on furlough, but because my team was on furlough, the management was retained, but we were just handling the organisation of the business. So my day-to-day jobs were actually very limited. So I had my PC set up on my dining room table, and a lot of my time was just kind of answering emails and things like that. And previously to knowing about Raid, I was an avid player of Summoner's War for many years in a previous job, which I got into just because everybody else in the workplace was playing Summoner's War. So I was like, okay, well, I might as well pull up my Summoner's War account, and I'm not sat in the office anymore, so I can have it open on my phone, on my keyboard in front of me. And, it'll just eat up some of this time in the day where I've got to be sat at my desk, but I can't kind of get away from the desk. I can't, and I certainly can't load up World of Warcraft, which was the other game that I was playing avidly at the time. I thought, well, I'll pick up Summoner's War, but unfortunately couldn't find my login details for it.
Oh, no.
So I've got an account on Summoner's War if anyone wants to go and hunt for that account, which is literally Kraken level account, and I have no idea how to access it. But anyway, in the recommended as games like this on the Play Store was Raid Shadow Legends, and I'd heard about it. Who hasn't heard about Raid at the end of the day?
It's everywhere.
It is everywhere. You're not even wrong. Because I was an avid World of Warcraft player as well. The style of the game really appealed to me. You had dungeons, you had raids, you had gearing, and all of these things kind of fell into place. And I was like, right, okay, let's give it a go. Why not? And I started playing it, and I played it for a week before messaging my brother, who is Never, who also works as a part of our team, mainly doing takeovers and articles for us. He basically said, I messaged him and said, we need to try out this game. I've been playing it for a week. Try it, you'll love it. And he was in the same situation as me, working from home. And the two of us just kind of picked it up and ran with it. And
just having that thing on the side of your desk where, especially when you're working at home, where there's kind of like that lack of separation.
Yep.
And it was almost like, like you said, for me, it was like having that thing on the side of the desk. It's like I can just jump in and do like 130 energy. Jump in and do a clan boss. When I first started, it was like jump in and figure out what the hell I was doing, because it was too much to do.
Well, I think I did the same as what probably everybody else who started playing Raid and didn't spend money to start off with did, was I started playing and then I hit around the level 25-30 mark when you run out of energy. And it's like, I need 2 accounts. I'm going to run 2 accounts because I just need more time. And and then you get to the point where you're like, actually, maybe I should just buy a pack. And you buy 1 pack and, several £1,000s later, here
the
you
first
are.
purchase thing. It's like I remember quite vividly for the first 2 months when I was like, right, I'm not going to spend money on this, because I knew the background to the mobile game. So it's like, you buy once and then you spend your life savings on it. I was like, well, and I knew the moment I bought one thing, it was going to be like this unstoppable wave that was being held back that then would just like drown my entire city of finance.
Yeah, it's the addiction that's kind of creeping on your back the whole time, just waiting to like pounce. And,
you just don't realize how much you spend, and I suppose that's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
In the sense that I can imagine some people don't have the self-control or don't have the disposable income, and it's so easy that you sit there and you go, it's only £5, £10, £15, £20. Then you look at the end of the month, it's like, oh my god, I spent could have bought a car for the amount of money I spent.
I mean, it is terrifying actually when you think of it like that. I think the biggest thing that I probably took from it is that with these type of games and this type of spending, don't ever use a credit card for it.
No.
If you're just racking up debt to play these games, then you should not be playing these games. So I would always use my disposable income. And the fact is that I wasn't able to go out. The UK was in lockdown, so I was fortunate enough to be in a position where I had a decently paying job, Eventually I then built into content creation and started streaming, which massively helped my account move forward with the generosity of the community. But it is I guess a very dark hole, or a very deep hole that you can fall into very quickly when you're trying to chase that next legendary champion.
Yes, we don't talk about legendary champions. We don't talk about
Not
them.
this weekend.
Not this weekend. It's far too much of a dangerous topic.
Yeah, absolutely. So this weekend that we're recording, I'm not 100% sure when the date on which this podcast will go out, but we happen to be set in a 2 times ancient right now. So, Paul, how's your luck been?
Well, do you know what? I can't complain. I had about 60 ancients saved up just from the progress missions. They chuck a lot of ancients in there. Probably you don't realize, like every couple of missions you're going to get an ancient, and I've been powering through them, just getting stuck on the tournament one. So I managed to make up around about 60 ancients, maybe 50.
Okay,
I think I bought one 11 pack and didn't get any legendaries, but I did get a Farrakhan. So
nice.
That's a non-dupe. That's better than another dupe at best, or some other, unless I'm going to have one of those super powered besses by the end of the updates. But yeah, not too bad. How about you?
Well, I managed to get a best, so I'm pretty pleased with that.
Talk of the devil.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I feel like my account, and I think I said this to you the other day, that I thought I wasn't going to pull shards because my account's kind of got to the point where I can do everything in the game. I just need to gear myself to do it. But the problem is, it's that addiction of wanting to get that next shiny champion. I don't have a Trunda, I don't have a Duchess, I don't have a Sifi, I don't have a Rotos, and these are all champions that I would love to have. But do I need them? Probably not.
No. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I think the game's attraction is the collection aspect as much as it is the progression aspect.
It's modern day Pokemon cards.
Yeah, exactly. It is. That's a great example. When we used to be like, 10 and 15, you'd collect, it'd be like right now, because the Euros are coming, you'd be sitting there going, like, you go to the local corner shop and you'd buy your 10 pack of collectible cards for the Euros. And, I remember when I was younger, I used to collect Yu-Gi-Oh cards. That was mine. I wasn't a Pokemon guy. I was a Yu-Gi-Oh guy. And this is kind of just like a digital 21st century makeover of it in that sense,
I mean, the problem for me
of Steve Jobs and the App Store.
Yeah, the problem that I have is that is literally the case for me. I'm more interested in collecting the champions than I am with playing the game. And much with Pokemon, I collected those cards, but I never played the game at all.
So would you say you're hooked on the collection aspect, not the gameplay? Or would you say the gameplay has got you hooked?
I would actually say that the thing that has me hooked on the game is the community, rather than any factor of the actual game itself. Especially if you've got yourself in a nice little clan. Obviously, we've got a clan which is primarily people who are working on the site with us. But like, my entire social circle kind of revolves around the game now, and yes, I enjoy the collection, I enjoy the building of the teams and things like that, but I actually enjoy more talking to the people who are around me about what I've pulled, about what teams that they're designing, seeing the next crazy thing that you're cooking up in your little science club that you've got going on.
Yes,
that's the driving factor for me. Yeah, exactly. I mean, guys, if you don't know already, then you need to check out some of Saf's science club adventures that he's been doing recently. Maybe we can get him to talk about some of them, actually.
Yeah. The For Science Club.
Yeah, For Science.
What is the For Science Club? The For Science Club is those crazy ideas that someone comes up with to keep the game fresh. It's one of those things, like, the game's got to the point now where a lot of the mystery has been solved. You've got Deadwood's site. If you haven't seen it, Deadwood Jedi has an amazing calculator tool, but also a bunch of speed tunes that his community and people who are affiliated with him and have used his Discord have built up a bunch of different compositions that are easy to go and use, and it basically makes Clan Boss just a reward cycle once you've got the right champions. But what I find most interesting, and this is where I'm hooked in the game, is there's always something different that nobody has thought about in a certain setup that you can achieve something that is just wild. And that's what the For Science Club is all about. It's thinking about, how can I take something that nobody would even think about is even a relevant solution or even that good, and then produce something at the end of it which is like, okay, I've just spent about 40 million silver and half of my life trying to figure this out, but it's cool. And whether it's better than the next thing, it doesn't really matter, because for science.
Yeah, exactly. It is for science.
Yes, science!
And the cool thing about it is you've actually managed to prove the man himself, Hell Hades, wrong recently with one of your for science
We're going to do him dirty, are we?
Oh, we are. We're dishing the dirt. I tell you what, the guy put out a video literally flaming me on my account. We are going to literally drag up every bit of dirt that we can in this podcast. So if you're not subscribed for any other reason, guys, exclusive dirt being dished on Hell Hades.
Insider trading on the things that Hell Hades gets up to that you never know about, exclusively in this podcast. He's done us both dirty, because when we did the video on the jailer, if you haven't seen it, go check out the YouTube video on Hell Hades channel. Ogrin Jailer, best champion in the game, secret discovery. And he went onto my he was doing the video. If you haven't seen it, he went into my account, because I'd built the Ogrin Jailer for science and nobody had thought about doing it
for science.
And he went into the faction wars, and at the time I was at that point in account progression where faction wars is something I was doing but not really motivated to do. So my Ogrin account was about, I don't know, floor 80, and I didn't really gear any of the champions, and I got roasted. It's like, oh, you haven't even geared these champions. So I was like, well, the video was testing the jailer, not criticising my faction wars.
Well, my video was literally, he was supposed to be gearing my Genshin for me, and I mean, that's the last time that I let him go on my account on stream.
Yeah. Although I would say you did commit some critical flaws in your building.
So let's set the record straight here, guys. Hell Hades knew exactly what he was doing there. Let's not beat about the bush here. He knew exactly what he was doing and what champions he was looking at. He picked up on the most irrelevant champions on my account. You know,
had a cold heart at 65%. Come on now, that's not irrelevant.
That was my third cold heart, which was used on Scarab Boss before they nerfed it. Let's
see. This is the thing. He's got you over a barrel here, because you can't win on this one.
Oh, there's never an excuse. That's all I hear. That's
But yes, we did. So this episode's insider juicy gossip.
Yep.
Whisper turns out actually pretty good.
More than pretty good. I mean,
evidence is yes. She's actually, so for anyone who doesn't know Whisper, because I'm now a Whisper connoisseur, and I think probably in this podcast we will have a moment every podcast episode where I go a little bit nerd corner sciencey for geeks and
no, we like
min-maxing. Whisper is amazing, but she's bugged right now, and the reason why she's bugged is her A2 is meant to apply her buffs before she attacks. This does not happen. Which means you lose out on about 50% of your A2 damage because you lose the increased attack, and that's ignoring defense. So I'm pretty sure when I finish my min-max, and I'll be able to get Whisper to about 40 million on Clan Boss.
Nice.
So Hell Hades, if you're listening, get on board. Join the Whisper fan club.
You just got to whisper about it.
Absolutely.
It's the Whisper Appreciation Society. We like it. So are you going to be putting a video out on this? Is Hell Hades going to be putting a video out on it, or is it
I'm
just
waiting for the
science?
bug fix.
Okay.
That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the bug fix because it's got to be at the peak. It's got to be peak Whisperer. So I've
Whisper
got,
40 mil damage 2025.
Well, it's Plerium for you. We only buff Warlord, don't we? We don't actually fix the champions. That's problematic. But yeah, I mean, if they fix Whisper, then I've got a pretty good comp. If anyone is interested in a good Whisper comp, Deacon Armstrong and a 2-1, or they call it the Deacon Eater. Just take out the DPS and put in Whisper, and it works really well. So I'll probably convince Hell Hades at some point to do a video. This is going to be Faceless 2.0. We converted him on Faceless. We can convert him on Whisper.
I mean, let's face it though, Faceless is still probably the worst looking champion in the game.
Isn't he the Volkswagen tradesman?
Yeah.
Selling your polos to the world.
He's just basic, yeah. They scrimped out on the design, and yeah, I think, you know, no matter how good somebody is, let's face it, we're raid players. We're more into the graphics than anything else.
I mean, Cardiel. That's all we say. Cardiel. What an artist. Like, come on.
He is an
The
incredible.
dude has got like a glowing sword and glowing wings, and everything's glowing. He's got like a halo. Shoots light beams.
I do feel like
on.
once they've started bringing like these angel-looking characters into the game, they've kind of just blown it out of the water with the design.
Yeah, and it's always worse when they do. Obviously, they go hard on the Void Legendary visuals, which makes sense. They're the rarity. They must be the most premium champions. But at the same time, then they'll release like an epic, and you kind of go, it's all right. You know, let's face it, they released, who was it? Riho Bone Spear.
Yep.
Looked pretty cool. Genzin and was it Jin Toro, my other personal favourite that I wish I could invest in if I had him, so that I could test things out. But I don't, because 10 times, yes.
We like it a lot.
But then you see those champions and they go, okay, so they've released a champion with the Japanese flag on his head. Right. You feel a little bit underwhelmed then. You kind of lose that kind of, you know.
Yeah.
It's almost like we ran out of ideas. I know, let's just stick a red dot on the guy's head, because that doesn't annoy the player base.
I heard the player base of Raid was really into red dots. I mean, that's why we put them on the website.
Yeah. Well, could they just not have red dots on the progress missions to tell me that I've not got a progress mission? I mean...
Oh, don't even get me started on that.
It's just annoying.
The new progress system, every time I log into my account, it's like, I've got something to hand in. I do, but I can't get there yet. It's infuriating.
Yes.
But
I mean, I could rant about the missions. They're very good, and I think it's well overdue. And I think Hell Hades has said this before. They're very good at giving your account an idea of where you need to go, and also it helps keep. I'm quite a progress-driven player. You know, comes from when I used to play Lord of the Rings online and MMOs. It's like, what's the next mission? What's the next step? What's the next quest? So when you run out of progress missions, you kind of go, I've just got to farm a dungeon, and you lose a little bit of excitement.
Yeah.
So I like the idea they've added more. I just don't get the logic on some of them, specifically Gomlock. Why?
Well, I mean, even going back to the Arbiter quest line, some of the order of things, but as well as that, even just the whole way that they effectively tell you to gear your champions wrong is just mind-blowing. And it seems strange. I mean, I guess it helps that they've now added, when you start playing the game, that you get that period to unequip gear for free, because of how messed up that you have to make things to actually achieve progress within the missions. But you know,
yeah, it's counterintuitive, isn't it? It's things like, you know, equip one champion with deflection gear. Now, I don't know about most of the player base, but if you don't know, you should be using all your core hammers on your swift parry gear, because that's not a broken set, honestly. So I had to actually drop about 50 core hammers just to make a deflection set, because I kept getting the same piece.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, like, I'm starting a petition to change Gomlock to Thea, because even at my level and account, I'm pretty endgame.
Yep.
I haven't really done an awful lot of Doom Tower Hard, just because of the secret room progression and for the sciencing and other stuff. It's actually going to take me till 2022 to even get past mission 94.
That's insane. They have to do something to change that, because...
Can you imagine, like, for a new player starting right now, okay, you wouldn't expect to do it, but your minimum time from starting to finishing getting Gomlock is 9 months. Or 8.3 if you want to be specific, but allowing for maybe not being able to do one.
And so that's after you've gone through the process of getting Arbiter.
That's actually by the time you can actually do the Doom Tower. And generally, like Faction Wars, you're not really burning an awful lot of resources in the first 6 months on champions just to do a specific faction, or you're not going to go and create like a specific rare spirit champion just to get a secret room done for 3 fragments. So it's mind-blowing to me, you know, talking about the concept of the progress missions, where it's meant to show your progress. effectively they're saying people should be doing Gomlock before they do a faction keep 14. Like, I've finished Faction Wars and I'm not even anywhere near Gomlock.
The logic.
I know.
Like it, but yeah.
Still, logic.
They added us in missions. They gave us things to do. They fixed Arena. Did I say that?
Ooh, wow.
Did I just say that?
It's a sensitive subject. I believe bronze and silver is now easier. I believe. But I haven't got an alt because time.
Yeah. How many hours a day would you say that you spend playing Raid? I know this is, again, another sensitive subject at the moment.
It depends on how you mean by playing. So for me, there's a distinction and a difference between playing like you would play League of Legends or playing like you would play World of Warcraft versus what Raid is, which is, in some essence, which is, some people would call it unhealthy. I'm always playing Raid because it's always on in the background. I've always got, I'll just put this on auto. I might have an auto clicker. I auto click the hell out of the Dragon tournament. It's always running. Yep. But in terms of actively playing, probably I'd say at least 4 or 5 hours a day. You know, obviously, Hal Hades did the did his video of his basic, just doing the base level stuff in the game, all your freebie stuff, and that's what, 4 hours. Yeah. I mean, a clan boss run for me would take 20 minutes.
I mean, I guess the scariest part, especially when I look at it, is that, you know, I run a business as you know, you now work for us full time, and our jobs are effectively to be able to play Raid and to be able to be involved in Raid. And I actually have no time to play Raid. You know, I can't get the things done in my day that needs to be done to keep my account up to speed, which is scary, thinking, you know, how is somebody who's working a regular 9-to-5 job possibly able to keep up?
Especially now that people are going back to the workplace. You know, when you're at home, you probably had it when you were working for your other job. You kind of sit there and you go, well, I can probably afford to spend an extra 10 minutes on this that I normally wouldn't be able to do in the office, or I could go and just set this on auto, or I can stop working for a little bit because you're at home. It's part of the benefits of working from home. But now that people are being sort of forced back into the to the workspace, what are they going to do? Go sneak to the toilet to run a 22-minute clan boss? That's a bit subject, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Has anyone seen Jeff in a while? He's not been at his desk. So I'm trying to get my unkillable
keeping him busy.
Team. Yeah.
And everyone's like, what do you mean painkeeper? It sounds a bit...
like unkillable teams banned from the workplace, basically.
Yeah. I wonder if there was ever... I wonder actually if there was ever been a situation where a company's had to do a policy about banning something like Raid Shadow Legends from the workplace. That would have been quite funny.
Yeah, it's fine to have your mobile phones, guys. For emergencies, stop playing Raid.
Yeah. And then there's like a global petition in the office saying, Raid is an emergency, I'm losing resources.
Yeah. It's like you understand that if I don't do this now, I'm going to be up till 3 a.m. I'm going to be late for work in the morning, and my productivity is going to go through the floor.
Consequences. See? Priorities.
Risk versus reward. I mean, how do you weigh it up here?
But no, the time issue in the game right now is a big concern, and I think I don't know if anyone's seen the latest controversy that BG has highlighted, which is a speed hack where you can essentially speed up your game. Insider info again.
Naughty.
We should probably have some sort of jingle for this bit. Insider info, and effectively, if you know how to do it, you can make your game go 4 times faster. So you can farm Dragon 4 times faster.
But we've seen this for a while. You know, we've had our friends across the pond pointing out issues with Raid for several years now, actually. You know, before obviously they assisted us massively with the issues in Arena Platinum. And the ability to push people to the end by educating everyone in the community as to how easy it was to abuse the system. But there's been videos leaked in the past of them using some sort of tool to speed run, Dragon and things like that to get gear obscenely faster than anybody else was able to acquire, along with editing game files and things like that. So I certainly wouldn't recommend that anybody gets involved in this
100%.
tool. It's a bit like these things hit the market, and as soon as it goes public, Plarium are going to try and do something about it, because it does break the game. It's not intended to be used that way, and I can't imagine that they're going to take kindly to the people who are abusing it.
Absolutely. I think there's a distinction between auto-clicking and these types of tools that directly affect the pace of the game.
Yep.
I think the fact that, in my opinion, they should be increasing the 30 to about 50, the auto play.
Yep.
And I think then the raid card should be an equal increase, just to give people a bit more opportunity to automate the internalization of the game. So I don't have to go and find an auto clicker to do my 20 runs. I mean, we've got to remember 30 was set up when we didn't have advanced missions, when we didn't have Doom Tower, when we didn't have daily refills all the time. So there's now every day an extra refill plus 50 energy. Every day you could potentially be getting another 100 energy from Doom Tower. So that's like 3 refills. That the 30 is you basically get about 800 energy in a day.
Yeah,
30 is not enough to get through that. You need more. So I think they need to scale that aspect up with the raid card. Yep. It's interesting to me that they're starting to sell those as a feature.
I was surprised, and of course it dropped at the same time as the 2x Dragon speed gear.
They're not stupid, are they?
Let's face it, they know what they're doing, guys.
But yeah, so I'm quite interested that they've decided to make it a revenue generating object. I think they need to actually just maybe give a little bit more. They obviously give them more energy out, which is great, but that comes at a consequence of time, and it's going to lead to player burnout. We have seen players leaving the game because they've reached the end. Yep. I think there's again a distinction between players leaving because of things happening in the game and players leaving because of burnout.
Yeah,
I don't know about you, like World of Warcraft is a similar thing. I've been playing Lord of the Rings online for 12 odd years.
Yep.
That doesn't mean I've played it for 12 years every single day of my life. I've gone through periods where
those breaks, and
you leave the game for about a year and then you come back and there's a bunch of new content. It feels like a brand new game again. You go right back in.
Yeah.
And I think Raid is getting to that position a little bit where the content they're releasing is being beaten too quickly.
Yep.
Because they're not thinking about the difficulty. Classic example is 25 dungeons. Everyone's sitting there going, oh, well, they've stopped you doing max HP. Doesn't make it more difficult, just makes it harder in terms of time.
Just longer, yeah.
So therefore, the excitement and that kind of retention, you start losing it. Players get a bit burnt out, which I think is healthy. It's unhealthy to stick around a game where if you don't feel like you're enjoying it. But
absolutely.
But yeah, they do need to find different ways to do it. I think having auto-clickers as third-party tools, I'd almost like Plarium to some extent to come out and go, we approve. Here's almost like an API or some sort of system where third-party developers...
we'd like one of those.
Yeah. It's actually one of the first things I looked for when I started doing my own little side projects is, can I just extract... we're not talking personal data here. We're talking stuff like, can I just get a list of all the champions' base stats? Because I don't want to have to type them into a spreadsheet. I could just type them into a spreadsheet. So it's not like I'm breaking anything here.
No, it's science club here, boys.
Yeah, we've got, to run basic assessment and different things like that. So it's one of those things. I think they just need to start looking a little bit more with the auto clickers and going, players need these tools to play the game. If they need them, then as a developer, they need to take sort of the steps to go, all right, we'll make something. We'll make it, even if it's a case of we won't make it ourselves because we don't want to invest, we'll make it so that it can be invested in by third parties.
Yep. And there are some very good auto clickers out there, and obviously there's tools like Deadwood Jedi's website for the speed tunes. Obviously, a shout
Amazing
out to the Raid Optimizer, brought to you by hellhades.com. There are tools out there which can massively help you improve the way that you're playing the game, and give you that fun of being able to do things like the 4 Science Club without having to spend months and months and months procuring data to even be able to attempt some of these crazy builds that we see out there. Like I mean, I've seen this week 3 times this week the world record broken for Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. I think somebody set it, and then Murder Inc. jumped in and smashed that, and then it was broken again within 2 days.
Shout out to Parvo.
Absolutely.
Is it Parvo or Parvo? I could be wrong.
I think it's Parvo.
Parvo.
Sure. But I mean, these things wouldn't be possible without the ability to, do things which are not readily available just in the game. So yeah, I think it's a massive shout out to the community producing these kind of tools, but also for the people who have the enjoyment out of trying to min-max these things, because obviously after you've one key Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, you don't need to go further. You don't need to do 230 million or whatever it was that he did in
it's 240 now, it's the current record.
Yeah, you don't need to do that, but the fact that he did it is cool.
It's like with every game, if you think about it, there is no value in being the first person to beat the raid in WoW.
No,
you don't get it, unless you might get a title for it if
and maybe some
Blizzard,
sponsors.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can basically become famous because people enjoy watching it. But in terms of the actual, in terms of loot for my champion, that's still going to be there the next time I run the dungeon. And it's the same thing as you said. Technically, you don't even need to one key. You could just be quite happy to go, I'll 2-key at Ultra Nightmare. If you can 2-key Ultra Nightmare, you can normally 1-key Nightmare. That means you've got a spare key then if you want to use it on Brutal, and generally hard is very not worth it.
Yeah.
For most people who are 1-key or 2-key in Ultra Nightmare. So it's that attraction that people get of the min-max community. And like you said at the start of this episode, the community drives a lot of these motivations with people. Some people will stick around because of the community that they find. We're quite lucky to have such a big community with Hell Hades. The Discord's quite popular and very busy. The website gets really, gets a lot of people coming towards it, and we hopefully keep adding new features to make the community involved.
Absolutely.
But without encouraging that level of community engagement, there is a risk that Plarium will lose people because of how difficult it is to get involved. So I think shout out to people like Deadwood who provide tools that people who essentially don't have time to do what they want to do can get involved as well. It's the same with the Raid Optimizer, same with our website as well. And I think there's a couple of other tools out there that we've used. Content. It's just keeping informed instead of, you pull a champion, you don't know what they do, you don't know how good they are. Go to hellhades.com, go to Deadwood's site. Some people still like to use Ayumi Love, the original site. I'm biased. Come to hellhades.com. But it's a quick way for you to understand what the community thinks about a champion and how you can use it. And that's the value. The most important part of any game is its community.
Absolutely. And I honestly think Raid has got pretty much the best community that I've seen in any game environment. Yes, they can be toxic at times, but who can't?
That's just Reddit for you, though, in general.
Yeah, true. But yeah, I think on that note, we're coming up to 40 minutes into our first episode, which is pretty nuts that we've just kind of had that flow there, and I really enjoyed obviously the chat, and I like the direction that we've been going with it. I think we'll cut it short here now, and save the rest for the next episode. But yeah, thank you very much for listening, guys, and please do subscribe via Spotify, and I think we'll be probably publishing it on YouTube as well, but we'll put thought into that, I guess, as things go. But yeah, any closing words, Paul, before we sign off?
Yeah, good luck everyone on your 2 times for Raid. If you're playing Raid, if you're playing any other game, good luck, and catch you next week.
Yep. Sweet. Thanks for listening, guys, and we will see you same time again next week.
If Hell Hades calls me the legendary Death Knight trash, I'll throw him in the bin. Take that.